Prescott and Prescott Valley are two of the hottest communities in northern Arizona right now, but making the wrong choice on where you choose to live could cost you not only thousands, but total regret in your decision of your next home.
That's why on today's video, we're going to cover a few things, and those are going to be what the difference is lifestyle-wise and amenity-wise between the two towns, the cost of your average home between the two. Does one get you a bigger home or a nicer home? And then what the lifestyle is like in both the areas.
We're Shawn and Tiffany Danley, local real estate experts behind the Living in Prescott YouTube channel. We appreciate you stopping in to check out our video. We've been in real estate over 20 years, and we want to share our knowledge with you on what it's like living in Prescott. Let's get started.
So the first big difference between the city of Prescott and the town of Prescott Valley is going to be the topography, the location, and the elevation. The city of Prescott sits at 5,300 feet, so mile high, and you're definitely going to feel that. There's far more trees, boulders, which you'll see, those granite boulders. It's pretty iconic of our Prescott area.
The lakes.
The lakes, absolutely. More mountainous, rolling topography. It's an older town. It was incorporated in the late 1800s, so you're going to have some of that vintage, historic charm and character. Most of your modern amenities are not going to be located in the city of Prescott. That's, it's going to be more of your local mom and pop shops, that sort of thing.
Well, and I'd say that the downtown area is certainly more walkable, whereas you'll see less car dependent in downtown Prescott.
More of the large art fairs and festivals are going to be held in the downtown city area. Let's talk about the homes, right, Shawn? So homes in the city of Prescott, there are some newer homes, but for the majority of it, a lot of it is established, existing homes. There's some of the historic, bungalows. You get over to Mount Vernon Street, and Mount Vernon Street are going to have those beautiful Victorians and more historic architecture.
Yeah, and I'd say, from a housing standpoint, those older homes, they're going to have a lot more character, charm, tree-lined streets, the pines. So all those sort of things that you see iconic of Prescott is going to set itself apart, as a major difference.
Well, and then weather, right? So it may not be that much cooler, maybe a degree, maybe two, depending on the day. But snow, if you're on the south end of town and you're in those tall pine trees, the snow's going to stick around a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. In fact, as you get up Senator Highway or Walker, you're going to gain in elevation. I mean, we've seen homes up there, up over 8,000 foot in elevation.
Close to.
And some of those homes are not year-round accessible. So for a second home, if you're coming up for a summer cabin, that might be where you want to look, as opposed to the town of Prescott Valley.
So speaking of the town of Prescott Valley, it was incorporated in 1978, so it has, a good 100-year youth on the city of Prescott. Elevation-wise, a lot of people think, well, when you think of the valley, you're thinking, it's way hotter, it's lower. But really the difference is like 150 feet between Prescott and Prescott Valley. Maybe 5150, kind of depends on where you are within the town of Prescott Valley. But elevation really isn't a huge factor. Like Tiffany mentioned, only a degree or two difference. Certainly the snow, when it does fall in the Prescott Valley area, since there aren't as many trees, to kind of shade, snow is going to melt quite a bit quicker in the Prescott Valley area.
I will say, though, for both towns related to snow, ADOT is on it. They're always out there very quickly. Yeah. Like you said, it's definitely shorter lived in the Prescott Valley area. And I think that has to do with the terrain too, right? It's more flat.
It is, yeah.
More open.
It's kind of the prairie, if you will. So if you envision, Big Sky, Montana, we kind of compare Prescott Valley a lot to Big Sky, country. We don't have the pines that really create that canopy as much in Prescott Valley. So, you're able to see the stars at night pretty much year round, on a clear night. The other big thing I think is, a huge difference between the town and the city of Prescott. It's going to be totally car dependent. It's your typical suburban town. You've got newer shopping, your big super Walmart, your large shopping centers, the Findlay Toyota Center, which you've seen in so many of our videos. So, it has all the modern amenities you would expect in a newer suburban town, a large movie theater, the Harkins Theater in Prescott Valley Town Center. It also, another huge difference between Prescott Valley and Prescott is majority of all your new developments are going to be in the Prescott Valley area. I mean, with a couple exceptions in Prescott, like the Dells and, Deepwell Ranch, for the most part, all your new construction, large master plan communities like Stone Ridge, the golf course, or, Jasper, Granville, or Pronghorn Ranch, those are all in Prescott Valley. So if that kind of lifestyle is what you're looking for, chances are you're going to look at a couple in Prescott and you're going to look at, 4 or 5 in Prescott Valley.
Yeah. And then another thing that I was thinking too, the difference is wildlife. So if you're coming in with a small dog and you're wanting to make sure that, Smokey the Bear isn't going to attack your dog, that's going to be a little bit more prevalent, what you say, Shawn, in the pine tree areas of Prescott. Javelina, wild turkey, mountain lions, bobcat, that sort of thing. We see more activity of that type of wildlife in the city of Prescott as opposed to the town of Prescott Valley. There's pronghorn, and on occasion you'll see a javelina and coyotes in both areas, but definitely the large game is going to be more focused in Prescott.
For sure.
So the next big thing is going to be medical facilities and hospitals. There are 2 hospitals in the city of Prescott. There's only one in the town of Prescott Valley. I will say, though, on the paper or on a map, they're not that far, and in reality, they're really not that far either. The VA hospital is located in the city of Prescott, and then you have 2 Dignity Health Centers in either of the towns. The medical facilities, as far as your ongoing doctors, your primary care physicians, your naturopaths, your chiropractors, they're in both towns, wouldn't you say, Shawn?
Yeah, you're really going to have access to all your smaller clinics, your typical primary care physicians in both locations. It's not like if you want medical care, you're going to choose one community over the other, because the reality is they're in both.
And you're not committing to a big drive. If you buy in the Prescott Valley area and you have to go to Prescott for doctors, it's not really like that. I feel like there's definitely coverage in both areas.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so the next big takeaway between the 2 towns is lifestyle and amenities. So if you're looking at the city of Prescott, like we mentioned, it's older, right? And so you do have more of an artsy feel and more of like an independent, very cool, hip vibe that's historic feeling. So
charming,
absolutely. Yeah. Kind of small town charming. There's a lot of Western heritage that you see. That Western lifestyle is very abundant in the city of Prescott. There's a lot of outdoor recreation also in the city of Prescott. There's a huge mountain bike race, marathons all the time that are going on. Again, like the arts and crafts festivals, music festivals, bluegrass festivals. Those are all going to be really aimed at the city of Prescott. Which is nice. But with that comes a downturn, right? And the downside to that is traffic. The tourists come up for the city of Prescott and those events, and for just the charming feel. And keep in mind, for our neighbors to the south in Phoenix, we're the nearest mountain town. So when it's 118 in Phoenix, which it hits, people are trying to escape the heat and they're coming up to the cooler temperatures of Prescott. So
they're heading into the mountains.
Absolutely. And that's going to drive traffic.
Well, and Prescott Valley in comparison, certainly it might not necessarily have that charm, that old historic charm that the city of Prescott has, but it kind of stands on its own. I mean, when there is a huge festival for Christmas, at the Courthouse Plaza in downtown Prescott, Prescott Valley is also doing a Christmas celebration. So they'll do a big lighted parade. They'll have a big tree lighting ceremony in the town center, Prescott Valley, right at City Hall. So, the town is really trying to, compete with the city, and really not necessarily compete, but just kind of hold its own.
Well, and they too have some outdoor recreation, right? So the Iron King Trail, Fane Lake is out in Prescott Valley.
Mingus Mountain, which
is beautiful for mountain biking. But I would say that the Prescott Valley area is maybe more of like a person who's into maybe outdoor sports, recreation, side-by-sides, dirt bikes, that sort of thing, because there's a lot of access to state land out there, but not as many outdoor trails, would you say?
Yeah, it's not the mountain bike mecca like, the city of Prescott is with the trail system. There are some subtle differences from that standpoint, depending on what your lifestyle is, what you're earning for, lifestyle wise. Obviously if you have animals, like Tiffany and I, we went on horses, and, there's a lot of horse property and acreage communities in the Prescott Valley area. So that, could be a potential fit for you if that's the type of lifestyle you're looking for. If you're looking for an in-town lot, and
walk to town
and
Prescott,
go hit Whiskey Row, Prescott Valley's, going to be 20 minutes.
Absolutely.
So probably isn't the right fit.
So that takes us into our last talking point, and Shawn, that's going to be housing. So Prescott Valley, like Shawn had already touched on, is going to be newer construction for the most part. It was established in 1978, so you're not going to have that historic cool house in Prescott Valley. You're going to have more of kind of the mainstream, newer construction. But with that also comes, some master plan communities like Shawn mentioned. There's Stone Ridge, which has a golf element, and a lot of them have pools and gyms and walking trails within their community. So that's going to be a big standing out point for the town of Prescott Valley. And then also, Shawn had mentioned the acreage communities. One of the only gated acreage communities in Prescott Valley is Copperfield, right? And those are 4-acre minimum, and we don't see that very often in any of the area.
So value-wise, Prescott Valley, you're probably going to get a, let's say $600,000 price point. You're going to get a 18 to 2,200 square foot newer construction home.
Probably within the last 20-ish years or newer.
4-bedroom, 2.5, 3 baths.
Potentially a 3-car garage.
Yep.
Decent sized lot. Probably not any mountain views or anything like that at that price point, but that's a pretty nice house for $600,000.
Well, and it's likely going to be single level.
Move-in ready.
And move-in ready condition. So for the folks that, don't want to do a remodel, or they've been there, done that, you're likely going to be looking at Prescott Valley from that standpoint of, finding something that's really turnkey.
But as opposed to Prescott, right? So the city of Prescott and what a $600,000 house looks like, it's going to be older. You're probably going to be somewhere built in the late 70s or early 80s, if not older than that. You probably will need to do some updates. You're likely going to be in that 1,500 square foot to 1,800 square foot range. You may have a 2-car garage. You may have a 2-car carport, depending on the era of the home.
Mm-hmm.
Your possibility is going to have some trees. You may have some boulders scattered here and there, but it's not going to have that uniform feel of a newer home, right? You might be in an area where it was a lot of custom homes that were built, so not all the houses look very similar. More charm, more character, maybe some mid-century modern in there, some 20s era in there.
Probably not an HOA.
Likely.
Whereas in Prescott Valley, you're likely going to be in an HOA if you want the newer communities. That's pretty much a given.
Well, and that speaks to no amenities either, right? There's maybe 1 or 2 neighborhoods that would fit in that $600,000 price point in Prescott that are HOA with amenities. But for the most part, they're not going to have the gyms or the pools, the pickleball, the tennis, that sort of
or
thing.
they're going to be, 30, 40 years old.
Well, and at $600,000 in Prescott, unfortunately, that's probably going to bring you in with a little bit of renovation, right? And it's not going to just be the fun, pretty stuff. It might be windows that need to be updated, or it might be electrical panels, plumbing, that sort of thing.
Okay, so we've told you about the various communities, Prescott versus Prescott Valley. Which one are you going to choose? Which one fits you the most? You're going to choose Prescott if you're looking for that historic charm. You want the tree-lined streets. You want the feel of the pines. You want the close amenities to all the outdoor recreation. You want the walkable downtown. If that sounds like you, Prescott's probably going to be the best fit for you.
And if you want something that's newer, you want all the amenities, you like newer shopping, you like some of the chain restaurants like your Mod Pizzas and your Chipotles and that sort of thing, you want to shop in a newer shopping center, and you want more access to outdoor parks, you want to be able to play pickleball or swim in your pool in your master plan community, then Prescott Valley is likely going to be your best contender. So both towns are absolutely beautiful and have their own amazing charm and amenities and perks and bonuses. That being said, what we like to do when somebody's coming out to our area and maybe doing research to potentially consider a move here, we drive through both areas and we let you kind of see what it feels like, because being here in person, in the car, driving through the communities are going to tell you so much more than you're going to see online or on, any video that you're going to see that we're recording. It's always great just to check out both areas and see what's going to have the best feel for you.
Well, and oftentimes folks will contact us and say, hey, we want to be in Prescott. They've never been, or maybe they've only visited once or twice, during one particular season. Mm-hmm. And, I think it's our job as good local real estate experts to kind of, listen to that client, what they're after, what they're looking for. And if we think that there might be something that you could potentially miss out on, we're going to push you just a little bit to say, let's check out this area as well. If it's not for you, hey, no harm, no foul. But it's always good to have, the knowledge to make an educated decision so that you don't have regrets after the fact.
Well, and if you have a budget of $600,000 and it's going to get you a few hundred square feet more and not having to update your house, then, maybe you look at both areas.
Yeah, maybe those couple of extra 100 square feet are the deal, maker for you.
Absolutely. Okay, so here's your homework. You're considering a relocation to Prescott. Here's what we always advise you do. Come out for a few days, whether that's during the middle of the week, different times of the season. If you want to check it out in the summer and then you want to check it out in the winter, come out and stay in a local Airbnb or a hotel. We usually tell you to stay in an Airbnb just because it feels like you're living in our area without truly living here.
Don't hotel it.
No, go to the local restaurants, shop at the local stores, and try it on for size.
Get some groceries.
Absolutely. How much is it going to cost me to get groceries? What's it like to go to the coffee shop in the morning? Kind of immerse yourself in the area and see how you feel about it. And if you're up in the air and you can't decide if you like Prescott or Prescott Valley, guess what? There's Airbnbs in Prescott Valley too.
The reality is both are fantastic places to live. You don't want to come with the notion that you're going to live in one particular community over another without really exploring both, which is why, we love to help countless numbers of people just like you experience the entire area, the entire Quad Cities. So give us a call. Make sure you download our relocation guide. It's 60 pages that Tiffany and I have put together for you. That's our gift to you for being a loyal watcher and supporting our channel. And yeah,
and reach out if you're thinking about new construction as well. Again, you don't want to walk into those new home sales models unrepresented, even if it's maybe something out a year or two. Make sure you have some representation. We'd love to help you. We're very knowledgeable in new construction. We know all the sales agents here locally, and we would like to definitely help you in that.
I'm Shawn. This is Tiffany. We're the local real estate experts behind living in Prescott. We appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you on the next video.